Hello, future millionaires. This is Aztec, and this is the CSC. Today, I'm going to talk about a chart that not too many people are talking about on the internet, and kind of explain it differently than it's been explained. And it's this chart here. And we'll go ahead and also analyze the current market and look at what's going on right now. It looks like we may be breaking out of the descending wedge that I was pointing out yesterday. And we'll go ahead and talk about some Cardano news that I wanted to talk about yesterday, but I just didn't get a chance to. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. This is the first time that I'll be discussing this chart. Now, this is the Bitstamp chart. I'm generally always on the Coinbase chart because I prefer the Coinbase. I believe Coinbase is kind of like a standard of the Bitcoin price in the now kind of. It's the closest to the now kind of price, so it gives me a good idea of where to trade short to medium term. But Bitstamp has a lot more. It goes back a lot longer than the Coinbase chart, so it has a lot more data, and there's more indicators. There's more data for the indicators. So anyways, let's get started. Like always, I like to just give no fluff, no puff charting and analysis. So here we are. I mean, we're looking at this Bitstamp weekly Bitcoin to the dollar chart. And what I wanted to point out is, a lot of people are saying, is this the bottom? Is this the bottom? Now, technically, I'm not too sure that this is the bottom just yet, but there is a good indication that we are very, very close to the bottom, and let's explain. So here, first of all, the last large wave that we had, or bull run we had, was back here, and you can see here this was back in November and December of 2013, and the bottom was on let's see, and of course this is a weekly chart, guys, so every candle represents a week, but the bottom here was indicated at let's see, January of 2015. And you can see that from the top to the bottom we fell 86.92% using our price tool. And over here you can see now currently back from 2017 till December of last year, we actually fell 84.13%. So a lot of people are saying, is this the bottom just based off of, how much we've fallen? And technically, you can argue that based off the percentage, we've fallen enough to consider, starting a new, kind of like an accumulation phase. Now, I mean, there's an argument based off that, but another argument a lot of people are talking about is this NVT signal. This is the network value transaction signal, and it's called tops and bottoms in the past. And you can see here that it was red because it was showing that this area here, so it's showing here and here, that this area was a top, and then the green down here is showing that it's a bottom. And a lot of people are actually using this weekly chart. Now, what I want to point out, guys, is that if you're using the standard, let's go ahead and pull it up here. If you're using the standard inputs for the transaction period being 90 and the length signal being 13, on the weekly, basically you get this kind of extended bottom, extended top. So the amount of bottom and top that it's calling is a lot larger. It's wider on the signal, so it's not as defined basically. Now what it is interesting is that you can see here that it called this signal called the top back here in 2017, and it's already starting to say that this is the bottom here. But let's make a quick change. Let's go to the daily and let me show you something. So if we zoom out on the daily, let's go to the just the log chart. What's very interesting is that on the daily, it definitely has indicated that there was a top here. This is back in 2017, and there was a bottom here in let's go ahead and pinpoint this in February. And that was from the initial fall from the 2017 high. And so the NVT called a bottom on the daily, and then it showed here that in this range here, which was from kind of like July to November, it was kind of like a top, in this being in 2018. And you can see here that after the crash here, we have not seen another little green bottom on the daily. So guys, a lot of people are saying, hey, the NVT is calling a bottom because they're using the weekly, and based off the way that the NVT basically calculates tops and bottoms, it's more accurate to use the daily to see where the bottom is. So for me, the NVT, when it shows a bottom on the daily is where I'll feel more comfortable saying that we're probably bottomed. And you can see we haven't seen a bottom. See this little green mark here? We haven't seen a bottom here yet. So yes, on the weekly, let's go back to the weekly. The NVT is definitely shouting out that this area that we're in currently is a bottom. But I mean, when you're using the weekly, basically the signal is a little bit more extended, so it's kind of saying to me what this is saying is that we're near a bottom. That's why in the Cardano trading Telegram channel, people pick my brain, things like that, and I've talked to people about calling tops and bottoms, which I do not like to do, and I don't like to project too far into the future, because I think the further you project into the future, the greater margin of error that you can create. But basically, if you want to call a bottom, if you're asking me, I think that we're either there or we can see like 2800 as a bottom based off a lot of other things that I can't fit into this video. But the main thing that I want to point out is this NVT, and that I like to use the NVT on the daily, not the weekly. Yes, the weekly is shouting out that we're hitting a bottom of sorts, but I would like to see the signal show bottom on a daily chart. So anyways, let's go ahead and now analyze the our current progress here on this chart. So yesterday I was kind of showing that we were, let's go ahead and zoom in, we were here, and because this is an hourly chart, so we were here, and I was saying I really think we're going to hit about 3,350, and we actually got down to yeah, we actually hit 3,345. So basically called this to the dollar practically. Now what's very interesting about what's happening right now, guys, is you can see here that we're on the hourly, we're getting this, let's get off this log chart. Yeah, so we're getting this kind of needling upwards movement. We're breaking past, on the hourly, we're breaking past a lot of these EMAs, and we kind of just wicked off the 200 EMA just within this hour. But what's interesting to me is that we've had a couple candles closing kind of outside of this trend line here, and this trend line is a trend line that I've outlined on the 4-hour and daily chart. So this is a good trend line for me on the 4-hour and daily, and I'll go ahead and pull that up in just a second. But as you can see here, we wicked, but we didn't really see candles close outside of it. Here we wicked, we didn't see candles close above it. Again, here we kind of nearly missed. Here we had candles close below it, but here we're actually seeing what's looking to be an attempt to break outside of the trend line. Now, what I want to see happen to feel more secure that this is truly a breakout is for us to break past this 200 EMA, and also for this 20 EMA to cross over the 50 EMA and start seeing, some crossovers of the EMAs to the upside. And if we look at the RSI, we definitely are kind of oversold, at least on the hourly. So in the very short term, we are a little oversold. We could see a slight pullback back towards the bottom of that, sitting on top of the trend line again from the upside of it. But as long as it stays above, we're good. Now, if we look at our MACD, you can definitely see that we scooped up and over. We've crossed over the trend line, the red line being the trend line, and we're seeing this green buying power. So the hourly looks good currently, though it looks like in the very short term we may see a little bit of a pullback. But let's go ahead and kind of go to the 4-hour so that we can get a better idea of where we're at now. Like I was saying in the video yesterday, if we do break out of this descending wedge that's forming, this right here, we could see us move back up towards the trend line up here, which is showing to be kind of like a descending channel. So this line here and this line here, we could see us move up towards this, towards the top of the descending channel. And so for you guys that were asking me, let me just double check my phone here, because I had someone asking me on Telegram, where are we going from here? Oh, mask. So bro, basically, what we can be seeing is that if this is truly a breakout, we can see us moving towards the top of this trend line, and this wouldn't happen overnight. This would take a very long time to get there. But that's only if this is truly a breakout and that we're breaking out of this descending wedge. Now on the 4-hour, let's look at our indicators. We're sitting at 52, so we're not oversold in the medium to short term, or the medium term. Let's go ahead and pop open this MACD. I like to pop these open to get a better idea of what you're looking at on these indicators. So you can definitely see that we're crossed over the trend line, the red line being the trend line, the MACD being the orange, and this selling pressure that we were looking at yesterday was subsiding, and now we're starting to see green. So this is a good thing to see on the 4-hour when we're so close to breaking out of a pattern, because if we're seeing this buy pressure and we're crossing over on a MACD, that can basically indicate that we're crossing up and over, that there's buying pressure, and that we're going to break out of the pattern. So that pattern being the pattern that I'm talking about right now is, of course, the descending wedge. So let's go ahead and look at the let's go ahead and look at the daily now. So I'm just trying to speed through this, guys. Now the daily is very, very significant, as we all know, and here we are. If we zoom in heavily, you can see that we're kind of butting up against the trend line here, being the top of the descending wedge. Our RSI is at 40 on the daily, so it's still slightly over. It's pretty oversold. We definitely can move up from here. Of course, always we can move down, definitely. And what I'm seeing here on this MACD, you can see here that we're finally seeing some, this is the daily. We've seen a lot of red selling pressure for a while, in the past couple weeks. But here today is showing the first day of, well, back on the 19th there was a little bit of green, but we are also seeing a little bit of green here today on the MACD and a crossover to the upside. So these are all positive signs, guys. On the daily we are seeing positive signs, and what we need to see, guys, is that we break out of this pattern. I want to see a candle kind of move up to 3,480 kind of area, hit this 20 EMA on the daily Bitcoin chart, and then keep moving up to really feel more secure that we're breaking out of this pattern. We need to see a candle close above and outside of this descending wedge to see that it's a breakout. We need to see volume to the upside and things of that nature, because basically if we go back to the 4-hour, guys, to kind of show you, and you can see that we actually have a 4-hour candle that's closed above and outside of the top of this wedge, which is a really good sign, guys. What could happen is that we if you want to look at this from kind of a bearish scenario, which the indicators do not look bearish, guys, but because we trend is your friend, the overall trend, let's go ahead and zoom out, which is always good to do. Just zoom out. We can see that the trend is down, down, and until we get a higher high, we in this Christmas rally we missed a higher high by very small margin here. Just this right here was the higher. If we would have kind of went above the 4,500 area, we could have got a higher high, but we missed that. And until we get a higher high, we're still kind of like a lot of people see us in the trend being very bearish still. So zooming back in, if we see this candle start to fall and come back into this descending wedge, then this is a failed attempt, and that would be extremely bearish. And I might even expect us to come back down a lot lower, and if we kind of pop this up, we would definitely probably come back to the $3,320 area, $3,330 area, and that would definitely wreck the alts. So look out for this, guys. We're in a very pivotal decision area for Bitcoin right now. And I really see that we could possibly see something explosive, soon. I mean, today is it's Friday, so weekends have been pretty interesting lately, and we could see something happen over the weekend. But in the short term, what we need to focus on is seeing where this goes, see if we continue candles outside of this descending wedge, if we see something break upward and with volume, and see some of these EMAs cross to the upside. That would be bullish. And if we start seeing candles fall back into this pattern, then that would be very bearish. So you could definitely you could set stop losses down below the pattern if you wanted to, but because a lot of people are worried that if we break under this pattern that we're going to fall pretty hard, possibly down to 3,100 again, double bottom and things of that nature. So anyways, guys, if we do break upwards, make sure to get your stop loss and kind of set it up every time we move your stop loss up every time we break upwards. So yeah, you want to save your profits. Now, in general, the news that I wanted to cover, I actually missed this this piece of information because it came out on the Cardano Telegram announcements channel right after I made my video, and I really find it to be extremely significant, guys, because here it says Nathan Kaiser, chairperson of the Cardano Foundation, is hosting an Ask Me Anything, an AMA session at the NYC Cardano meetup on February 13th. So this is just around the corner. It says, please post your questions and we will compile a list accordingly. So guys, a lot of people have been wondering about the Cardano Foundation. They want to know, you know, is the Cardano Foundation back? And, you know, in my opinion, from what I saw in Davos, the Cardano Foundation is, you know, they got people back on the board, and it looks like they're kicking and ready to fight. Now, what will be very interesting is to see what questions are asked in this AMA and how they're answered. And I think this is going to be something to watch out if you're a Cardano guy or girl, lady. You know, you're definitely going to want to watch this because the Cardano Foundation, you want to see how powerful they really are, and I think we're going to learn a lot from this AMA. So look out for the 13th of February and an AMA. This is going to be very interesting. And also, just to kind of throw out here, we have Sebastien. He just posted a video on the Mergo, you can see here on the Mergo YouTube channel yesterday on the 7th. And it was a Cardano progress update. So if you want to know what's going on and what's happened in February or January, actually, because this is a February video, so he's talking about January and all the updates that have happened recently. You want to go ahead and watch this video, guys, because you know, it's going to let you know what's going on. You can go to let's scroll down. I believe it's in the description here. Let's show more. Yeah, you can go to the roadmap here at CardanoRoadmap.com, and you can view, you know, line by line all the different things and all the progress that's going on. But it'd be better to watch his videos because he kind of goes into depth about all the different things that are happening. That have happened recently. So it's a little bit easier just to watch his videos to get a really line-by-line in-depth summary of what's going on with Cardano. And, you know, with everyone always asking, you know, well, is Cardano really, you know, worth it? You know, you can go ahead and watch the Sebastian's videos to get a better idea of how to describe and explain, you know, where Cardano is going in the short term. So, and what they've done. And that's my son. He's in the other room. He's waking up. But yeah, guys, I hope you found this interesting. I kind of talked about some interesting things today that I don't generally talk about. And tell me what you think, and like and subscribe, of course, for more. And never give up on the future of money. Take it easy.